Silence wrapped around them like a heavy blanket. Min-jae's jaw tightened before he finally spoke slowly. Painfully, like every word cost him something. "You weren't attacked at random," he said. Deja blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. The movement wasn't smooth like usual. It was tense, frustrated, almost guilty. "They thought you were my secret lover." Her stomach dropped. "What?" "A rival family put a target on you," he continued, voice low, eyes darkening. "They've wanted leverage against me for a long time. And when I went to your door, they thought I was hiding someone important." Deja's breath shattered in her chest. "Because of a stupid text?" He stepped closer, dropping his voice to something heartbreakingly gentle. "No," he whispered. "Because of me." The tears came fast, choking her. She turned away, covering her face. But he moved behind her instantly, not touching, just close enough that she could feel his warmth. "This isn't fair," she sobbed. "I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for you. I know. I didn't want to be part of your world. I know." Her knees buckled, but Min-jae caught her before she hit the floor. He didn't hold her roughly like the man she feared. He held her like someone afraid she might disappear. "You should have left me alone," she whispered through tears. "I tried," he murmured against her hair. "I failed." His arms tightened just a fraction, enough to steady her, enough to expose him. "You entered my life by accident," he said. "But the moment I opened that message, I couldn't ignore you, even when I should have." Her heartbeat stuttered. She wasn't sure what terrified her more, the danger outside, or the way this man was starting to mean something inside. The safe house shook with the force of the attack, bullets slamming into walls, glass shattering, alarms screaming through every corridor. Deja covered her ears, heart pounding like it was trying to escape her chest. The Minj didn't flinch. He pulled her tight against the cold steel partition, his body fully shielding hers. She felt the heat of him, the tension in his muscles, the steady release of breaths controlled only by deadly discipline. "Stay down," he barked, firing 3 precise shots around the corner. Screams followed, footsteps thudded across the floor. More gunfire. Closer, Deja trembled. "Min-jae, they're coming in." "What do they want?" He switched his empty magazine with lightning speed. "You," he said. "They want you." Her blood ran cold. Another explosion rocked the hallway. A flash grenade. The lights flickered and died. Smoke curled under the steel partition. Min-jae grabbed her chin, forcing her to look into his eyes even in the chaos. "Listen to me," he said, voice low and fierce. "They're not taking you. Not alive, not ever." She couldn't breathe. "Why? Why risk everything for me?" His jaw clenched, shots rang closer. He leaned in until his forehead touched hers, a rare, desperate confession hiding in the seconds before death. "Because losing you," another gunshot cut the air, "is not something I can survive." Before she could respond, the steel door behind them began to spark. Someone was cutting through it. "Stay behind me," he whispered. "This is where hell begins." Min-jae jerked backward, his body slamming against the steel wall, but he stayed over her, shielding her even as the impact tore through his shoulder. "Min-jae!" Deja screamed, catching him before he collapsed. Her hands flew to his wound instinctively. Warm blood spilled between her fingers in frightening waves, soaking her palms, her sleeves, the floor. "It's nothing," he gritted out, breathing sharp and uneven. "It's not nothing," she cried, pressing harder, hands trembling violently. "You're bleeding too much, Mnc. You're losing blood." He grabbed her wrist, his grip shockingly steady despite the pain. "Deja!" he rasped, eyes burning into hers. "Focus." "I am focusing." "Not on me," he whispered, jaw clenched as another burst of gunfire echoed. "On surviving." Her heart cracked at the calmness in his voice. The calmness of a man who had been shot too many times to react, or who cared more about her safety than his own life. He slumped slightly, breath hitching. For the first time since she met him, Min-jae looked vulnerable. Blood dripping down his arm, eyes dimming, body weakening. "Min-jae, stay with me," she choked, voice breaking. Another explosion outside the room rattled the steel partition. He lifted his uninjured hand to her cheek, a soft, shaking touch. "Don't cry," he murmured. "How can I not?" She sobbed. His eyelids fluttered, but he forced them open. "Because I'm not dying," he whispered, leaning his forehead gently against hers, "until I know you're safe." Her breath hitched as his blood continued seeping through her fingers. Then the footsteps grew louder. Closer. Multiple intruders. Deja's fear turned to something fiercer. She grabbed the fallen gun beside them with shaking hands. If they wanted Min-jae, they had to go through her first. The medics moved around Min-jae quickly, but he didn't look at any of them. His eyes stayed locked on Deja, desperate, vulnerable, and unlike anything she had ever seen from him. "Because I care about you more than I should," he whispered. Voice weak but steady. Deja froze. For a moment, the room felt silent. Even the medics seemed to fade into the background. Don't say things like that right now," she murmured, brushing blood from his cheek. "You're hurt. You're scared. I'm clear," he breathed. Then, with a faint, pained smile, "And for the first time in my life, I'm scared because of someone. Because of you." Her heart twisted in her chest. Before she could answer, one of the medics stepped forward. "We need to move him now. He's losing too much blood." Deja started to stand, but Min-jae's grip tightened even in his weakened state. "No, she comes with me." The medics exchanged worried glances, but no one argued. He was still their boss. Even half-conscious, Min-jae commanded the room. As they pushed the stretcher down the corridor, Deja walked beside him, refusing to let go of his hand. His thumb brushed her palm once. Weak but intentional. Then suddenly Min-jae's eyes fluttered. "Min-jae?" she whispered. He didn't respond. "Min-jae!" Her voice cracked as panic surged through her. One medic cursed under his breath. "He's going into shock, we're losing him!" But even as his body trembled, his lips parted. The faintest whisper escaped. "Deja, if something happens to me, don't trust." The hallway lights flickered violently. A loud boom echoed through the building. The power died. Smoke crept under the door at the end of the hall. And Deja realized someone else was inside the safe house. And they were coming straight for Min-jae. The room fell painfully quiet after Min-jae's confession. Deja's breath hitched. Important. He said she had become important to him in a world where caring about someone was practically a death sentence. Why would someone inside your own organization want me dead?" she whispered, voice trembling. Min-jae's jaw tightened. Even with a bandage on his shoulder and pain etched into his features, his rage simmered like fire. "Because caring makes me weak," he said bitterly. "And a weak leader loses power. Someone wants to replace me." Deja staggered back a step. All of this danger, all of the fear, it wasn't random. It wasn't the rival gang. It was someone close, someone trusted. "Who?" she asked. He looked away, and that scared her more than the gunshots. The kidnapping, the blood on her hands. "I don't know yet," he said, voice low. "But they leaked your location twice, and they ordered the hit during the power outage." Deja felt cold crawl up her spine. "You mean that blackout wasn't an accident?" "No," he answered. "It was a signal." Her stomach twisted. She wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly aware of how violently her world had changed. Min-jae slowly reached for her hand. "I never should have let you get involved with me," he said, regret flickering in his eyes. "You were supposed to be a stranger. A mistake. A text I ignored." His voice softened. "But I didn't ignore it." A sharp knock echoed from the door. Both of them flinched. A guard stood there, breathing hard. "Boss, we found something!" Min-jae straightened, pain forgotten. "What?" The guard swallowed. "It's about the leak. We traced the signal." Deja felt her pulse in her ears. The guard hesitated before finally saying it. It came from someone you know well, sir. Someone close. Min-jae's eyes narrowed. Bring me their name, he said, voice like ice. Now. The guard left. Deja turned to Min-jae. Fear mixed with something else, something deeper. Min-jae, what if it's someone you trust? He met her gaze. Then they're already dead. Gunpowder still lingered in the air when the last echo of gunfire faded. Deja stayed frozen behind the concrete pillar, hands shaking so violently she could barely breathe. Silence. Then footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Familiar. Deja. Min-jae's voice was strained, but steady, the voice of a man who had survived another battlefield. She stepped out cautiously, heart pounding. When she saw him emerge from the shadows, bruised, panting, blood smeared across his cheek, she nearly collapsed with relief. Min-jae! She cried, running to him. He caught her before she crashed into him, arms wrapping around her, even though he winced from the pain. It's over, he whispered against her hair. The traitor's gone. But Deja felt him trembling, not from weakness, but from the rage he had barely controlled. She pulled back and cupped his face. Why? Why would your own lieutenant betray you? The muscle in his jaw twitched. He said you were changing me, Min-jae replied. His voice was low, dark, almost broken. He said, you made me vulnerable. Deja's breath stilled. I didn't mean... Min-jae shook his head sharply. He was right. Her heart dropped. Until, he added, softer, more raw. But I don't care. He took her hand, pressing it against his chest, right over his racing heartbeat. I'll take vulnerability over losing you, he whispered. Every time. Deja's eyes burned. You got shot because of me. Your own people are turning on you. Min-jae, this is too much. No. His voice hardened. What's too much is pretending I don't feel something for you. What's too much is letting you believe. You're just a mistake or a risk. Or a loose end. He leaned closer, foreheads touching. You're the first thing I've chosen, he murmured. In a life full of things forced on me. Before she could speak, alarms blared again, faint but growing louder. Not gunshots this time. Footsteps. Many of them. Min-jae stiffened. Backup is coming. Mine, but after tonight, I'm not even sure who I can trust. He tightened his grip on her hand. You stay with me, he said. No matter what you hear, no matter what comes next. Deja swallowed hard, fear and something else twisting inside her. What comes next? She whispered. Min-jae's eyes flashed with something dark and determined. The real enemy, he said. The one who wanted you taken. Her pulse hammered. Why me? His answer was quiet, but shook her to the core. Because you're connected to my past in ways you don't know yet. Min-jae staggered toward her, each step slow, heavy, controlled like a man forcing himself to remain standing for one reason only, her. Deja ran to him the moment his knees buckled. Min-jae! She caught him by the shoulders, lowering him to a crate. You're hurt again. I'm fine, he murmured, though his voice was rough with pain. I told you I'd come back. Her hand shook as she checked him for wounds. Why would your own man betray you? He exhaled, eyes drifting to the body behind him. Because he thought you made me weak. Deja froze. Me? He believed I'd risk everything for you, Min-jae said, meeting her gaze. And he was right. The words knocked the air from her chest. Before she could respond, he reached out, pulling her closer by the wrist, his grip firm despite the tremor in his fingers. You're not safe here anymore, he whispered. You're not safe anywhere unless you're with me. Deja's breath caught. Are you saying? I'm saying I don't protect people. His eyes were dark, unreadable. I protect you. That means something. Her heart hammered. Danger pulsed around them, yet somehow she felt safest in the arms of the most feared man in Seoul. Then Min-jae added something that changed everything. There's someone bigger behind this. Someone who knew you mattered before I knew. Deja's skin chilled. What does that mean? It means, Min-jae said softly, You were never a random mistake. Her eyes widened. Then what am I? He brushed a thumb against her jaw, tender in a way he didn't show anyone else. A target, he murmured. And a key. Deja swallowed. A key to what? Min-jae leaned closer, voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. To the war that's been waiting for me. Long before you ever sent that text. Weeks passed like a slow exhale after a storm. The city returned to its rhythm. Min-jae's empire stabilized. The traitors were gone. The threats silenced. The shadows pushed back. For the first time in years, he wasn't fighting for survival. He was fighting for clarity. And clarity led him back to her door. Deja froze when she saw him standing there, not in a black coat, not surrounded by guards, just Min-jae, a man with tired eyes and a softer expression than she'd ever seen. You're healed, she said quietly. Mostly. A small smile touched his lips, enough to come find you. Her heart fluttered in a way she couldn't control. He stepped closer, slowly, deliberately. You texted me by mistake. She swallowed, pulse racing. I know. And that mistake nearly got you killed, he added. She nodded. But she hesitated, voice dropping to something fragile and brave. Maybe it wasn't a mistake. His breath hitched slightly, a reaction she would have missed months ago. But now, she knew him well enough to see. Deja, he whispered, reaching out. His hand gently cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheek in a tender stroke, so unlike the ruthless man the world feared. He held her like she was something precious, something breakable, something he'd die protecting. From the moment you texted me, he murmured, everything in my life shifted. Her eyes softened. Mine too. His forehead lowered to hers, lips inches away. You were a glitch in my world, he said. A disruption. A danger. And now? She breathed. Now, he whispered. You're the one thing in my world that feels right. Deja's heart thundered. He pulled her even closer, voice rough with emotion he no longer tried to hide. Then let's see where this accidental fate takes us. Her lips curved into the smallest, trembling smile. Okay, she whispered. Let's see. And when he finally kissed her, it wasn't the kiss of a mafia lord claiming something. It was the kiss of a man finding what he didn't know he was missing. Their first official date wasn't candles, roses, or soft music. It was soul at midnight. Min-jae picked her up in a sleek black car, wearing a suit that made him look like trouble wrapped in elegance. Deja wore a deep green dress that made his breath catch the moment he saw her. You're staring, she teased as she slid into the passenger seat. I'm allowed, he said, eyes lingering. It's our first date. She smirked. Is being followed by 3 surveillance cars also part of the date? He didn't deny it. He only reached over, buckled her seatbelt, and murmured, I told you I don't take chances with you. They drove to a rooftop restaurant overlooking the city, but even as soft jazz played and the skyline shimmered under the moonlight, there was an underlying tension, the kind only a mafia lord could carry. Deja felt it the moment he looked over her shoulder, eyes narrowing slightly. Is something wrong? She whispered. Someone is watching us, he said calmly. Don't worry, my people are handling it. She swallowed. This is not a normal date. His gaze softened. Nothing about us has ever been normal. He took her hand across the table, tracing her fingers with a gentleness so out of place in his dangerous world. You deserve peace, he said. You deserve softness. I don't know if I can give you that every day, but I can give you honesty. She met his eyes. Give me you. That's enough. His expression melted, and for the first time, Min-jae's smile wasn't guarded or restrained. It was real. But then, boom! A distant explosion echoed across the rooftops. Deja jerked in her seat. What was that? Min-jae calmly sipped his wine. A warning shot. From a family that wants a war. He leaned closer, voice low and intimate. But tonight, I'm choosing you. He stood, offering her his hand. Come, let's finish this date somewhere safer. Is anywhere with you safe? She asked. He smiled in that dangerous, breathtaking way. With me? Always. As they walked away from the rooftop, the city lights glittered around them, chaos behind them, fate ahead of them, and Deja realized something. Her life hadn't been ruined by the message she sent by mistake. It had been rewritten by destiny disguised as error, by danger disguised as love, by a man who could destroy a city, but treated her like the one thing worth protecting. Thank you for watching this dramatic Mafia love story. If you enjoyed Deja and Minjae's unforgettable, danger-filled romance, don't forget to like the video, comment your favorite moment, subscribe for more intense emotional love stories, share this episode with someone who loves drama and suspense, and if you want spin-offs or a new story, let me know in the comments. Until next time, stay tuned for more love, danger, and irresistible drama.